Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. So I have got a few weeks spare in my schedule for YouTube, so I thought I would try and find a 5-star read, and these are my options. I haven't had a 5-star since the first week of January, which isn't crazy, but with the amount I read in January, I'm very surprised it didn't happen. So options for my potential 5 stars kind of fall into 2 categories. Let me sort them into those right now. So the first category is books by authors that I have previously given 5 stars. So I have got Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young with gorgeous sprayed edges from The Works. So pretty, and this is a new release as well. So the book I gave 5 stars by Hannah Bonham Young was Out on a Limb, which I adored. That was the most gorgeous story ever. So this is a contender because it's set in like the same friend group from Out on a Limb, so I have high hopes for this. And you know, a Taylor Swift title, what more could I need? Then I've got Tales from the Cafe by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I say that wrong every time, I'm sure, but this is the second book after Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which I obviously adored, so fingers crossed this can be another 5-star in that series, because I now own all of them and would love it to be a 5-star series. Then very randomly, I've actually got Happiness for Beginners by Catherine Center. I got the movie cover, which I hate, but I did see the movie first, unfortunately, so I didn't realise it was a book first, so I was like, oh, I need to read that now. But I gave The Bodyguard by Catherine Center a 5-star in, I think it was October last year, so I have high hopes for this one. I think it'll be really cute. So this is that one. And then the other category I've got for these are books that I've seen other people give high ratings, and so I've sort of built them up in my head that they'll also be high ratings from me. So we've got Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This one I have mainly seen Madison Kate, I think is her name, on YouTube. She adores this book, and so I thought I need to give it a go. I'm not a massive fantasy girly, but I want to be, so I feel like this would be a good try to see if I'm into fantasy. Then everybody under the sun says they love Abby Jimenez, so it is time for me to read an Abby Jimenez book, and I'm going to start with The Friend Zone. I thought I'll work my way up to her newer books because I want to read just for the summer, but I know it's an interconnected standalone thing, so I thought I would just try and work through her backlist to build up to that book, you know. Gives me like a reward at the end of reading all of them. So I've got this one. And then another new release, I'm pretty sure, that I've just seen, Sarah Caroli, her Goodreads updates for this book hooked me. I need to read it right now, which is The Favourites by Lane Fargo, I think is how you say her name. And this one seems really random to me. People have said it's like Daisy Jones and the Six, but I haven't read that either. So I really want to read this. I feel like it will be a good change of pace from what I usually read. So I know I haven't explained any of these, but as I'm planning to read them, I will obviously talk more about them. But I don't know what I'm going to pick first. I'm getting on a train today for like 2.5 hours, so I need to think fast and pick a book because I'm going to be reading for the entire journey. And then I need to determine how many books I think I'm reading this weekend, because I come back in 2 days' time and I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done when I'm at my friend's house. So depends if she's doing uni work, I suppose. But I think I'm going to take maybe 2 or 3 books because I don't know how fast I'll read on the train. This is so stressful. But the next clip you'll see is probably me reading on a train, so you will definitely see almost immediately what book I decide to read. So it's actually almost an entire day later because I forgot to film on the train, but I am, I think just over, I'm literally 200 pages in to Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This follows Sarah and Caleb, who have been married since they were 19, which is insane. And it's basically got to a point where Sarah's like, oh, I don't know if that was the right thing to have done. And so they go on a couple's retreat into the woods to try and rekindle the romance and, like, you know, figure things out, make sure that they're still happy together. It's really cute, but it's nowhere near as good as Out on a Limb was. So I unfortunately don't think this is going to be the 5-star that I was looking for in this video. But I am going to keep reading it, hopefully finish it today, because there's only, I think, just over 100 pages left to go. So that should be easy enough to finish, and I'll get back to you, but I don't think it's going to be a 5-star. And then an update on my book buying ban, which is not going well. I bought 4 books today. I bought a manga. It's called Our Dating Story, The Experienced You and the Inexperienced Me, which I'm pretty sure is an anime as well. So I just thought I'd pick this up to fill the void that My Love Mix-Up will leave when I eventually finish that. So I got this one. Then I went into the works, which was a bad move because I did buy 3 books in a 3 for £6 deal, because why would I not do that? I bought Never Date a Roommate by Paula Ottoni, which I basically know nothing about other than that it's fake dating. So I don't know when I'll get to this, but eventually I'm sure it will end up in a video, so look out for that. Then I bought Long Time No See by Portia McIntosh, which I think is like seeing your ex-boyfriend on a holiday kind of thing. And a love triangle. That I noticed on the cover there were 2 guys, so I was like, I sense a love triangle. And I've read another book by Portia McIntosh, which I cannot for the life of me remember what it's called, but I did enjoy it, so I thought I'd give another one a go. And then the one I'm most excited for actually is The Fake Wife by Sharon Bolton, which, like, this lady is sat at a hotel eating by herself, and another girl comes and like sits in front of her and starts pretending to be her wife, and like she has no idea why. So very excited for this one. I might try and squeeze this into this video because I mean I've never had a 5-star thriller read, but this kind of has a premise that makes me think it could be one. So who knows, but I'm going to finish Out of the Woods and hopefully get back to you possibly tomorrow, maybe later today, with my final thoughts, and then we can move on to, I think I'm going to read The Favourites next. That's what I've packed to actually read with me on this trip, so I'm going to start that one next. As you can see, I am now home. I forgot to do any more clips whilst I was out because obviously I was spending time with my friend. We were going out and about doing stuff, so not much footage from there. But I did finish Out of the Woods. I think I'm giving this a 3-star. It was just very, I don't know, there was nothing about it that stood out to me particularly. I think if I explain this, but obviously it follows a married couple going through some issues. There's a then and now timeline, which I'm not a massive fan of. It was just a bit of a letdown for me personally, even if it was beautiful sprayed edges. A bit of a letdown for me, unfortunately. So, not a 5-star. But we are on to a more promising book, which is The Favourites by Lane Fargo. I've actually taken the dust jacket off so I can just read it without worrying about it. And I think this is really like understated beauty of this one. Like the foiling is very pretty. This follows 2, I think they're ice dancers, I think is what they're referring to them as. I think. And they've been really close for years. They're like Olympic level skaters, and something happens, you don't know what, and it causes this big scandal, this big outrage towards the main character, Kat, and I think her and, I've forgotten his name, Heath might be his name, I think his name's Heath, a falling out between them, I think. So this is written really interestingly in that it has like interview sections from like a documentary being done about these 2 people. Let's see if I can get a page of it. I have started annotating it, so it's a little bit messy, but you can see there you get like narrator and then people that aren't the 2 people we're following talking about these people in the future, obviously like present day, and then we get the actual chapters is like her backstory told by her. So it's really interestingly written. I am really enjoying it. I'm loving the character dynamic so far. and I'm just really curious to see what the scandal is. I can't wait to find out what it is. It's making me not want to put the book down, so definitely going to be reading some more of this today or tonight, and definitely some tomorrow. I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow, which is ambitious because this is like 400 and something pages, which is a bit thicker for my standards, but I'm enjoying it so far and I cannot wait to keep reading it. So let's crack on and do some more reading. Welcome back, or that's more of a welcome back to me because this will be really quick for you guys. I actually haven't done an update on this video for like 2 weeks because I got really ill, and then my boyfriend got back from his really long trip, so I was spending time with him, and then I got busy with work, so I didn't have time to do talking, and when I was ill I had a sore throat, so I literally couldn't talk if I wanted to. So now we're going to do some quick fire clips of me talking about the books that you have seen me reading. I did my little like time lapses whilst I was ill, but I didn't explain anything about any of these books. So quick fire of the first one that I didn't talk about, which is The Favourites by Lane Fargo. This is my first book that I've read by Lane Fargo, and it made me want to pick up everything I'm assuming it's she, everything they have ever published. Also, sorry about the glare, it's just the lighting in my room is terrible, so this is what we're working with and I'm really sorry about it. This follows Kat, and is his name Heath? That sounds right. Kat and Heath, yeah. Who are two ice dancers who are from like basically the middle of nowhere. They've had terrible upbringings, and this is Kat's dream, is to be an Olympic ice dancer, and Heath just goes along with it because he's down bad for Kat. He's in love with this woman, or this girl at the time they start, and this is done in the style of a documentary, so you get like snippets of interview sections with people that we then meet through the story told by Kat of her journey in ice dancing and her relationship with Heath and everyone she meets along the way. It is full of drama. It is chaotic in the best way, and I had so much fun reading this. This was a 5-star, so technically I could end the video here and I would have found my 5-star for the video, but that is not the aim of the game. We are trying to find as many 5 stars as I can. So I'm going to keep going. The next book that I read is Tales from the Cafe, which you will now see me reading, and then I will do another clip talking about this book. So Tales from the Cafe is obviously the second book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. It is a translated Japanese fiction, and I love this series. It makes me cry. I love it so much, and they are so quick to get through. I literally read this in one sitting. So this has, is it 4 again? It might be 3. Hang on, let me find out. So this has another 4 like mini stories all set in the same cafe. We've got the best friend, mother and son, the lovers, and the married couple. And I don't want to say too much because mainly I can't distinguish each story in my head because they're all obviously in the one book and I read it in one sitting, so they're all a bit mushed in my brain. But I really, really love the writing style and the messaging of this book. If you haven't read Before the Coffee Gets Cold or seen me talk about it, it is about a cafe in which you can sit in a specific chair and go back in time to another point you were in the cafe, and you have until your coffee gets cold to be in the past, talk to people, and then return to the present. And the main messaging of this story, because when you go back in the past, you can't actually change the outcome, you can't change what happened, you can't change how your life is now. It is all about reflecting on the past and becoming okay with what's happened. I'm sure there's a more eloquent way to say that, but that's how I'm saying it. And it is just the most beautiful format for storytelling ever, because not only do you get these customers who come in and want to go to the past, but you're also getting snippets of the cafe workers' lives and how they would maybe go back in the past and what they would do and what they would say. And it's just really, really beautiful. I gave this, I think I gave it a 4-star. Again, my ratings on these are a little wishy-washy. I don't remember much of the week I was sick, so I think I gave this a 4-star. That feels right. It's not as good as Before the Coffee Gets Cold was, because obviously to me that was a new concept and this is just following the same format as that. So, but it was still a really good sequel, and I am really looking forward to reading the next book in the series as well. I think there's 5. I've got 5 books. I don't know if there's another one, but very exciting. And after that, I went straight into Happiness for Beginners by Katherine Center. So Happiness for Beginners, I've actually seen the film of this, which is what made me pick up the book, which is not usually the way around I do things, but for the purposes of this, that's how it happened, because I didn't realise it was a film before I watched the film. No, what am I saying? I didn't realise it was a book before I watched the film. Clearly my brain is still not on full power mode, but this follows Helen, who is newly divorced, and she doesn't know what to do with herself. She doesn't know herself outside of her marriage. She has like no sense of self, and so she books a boot camp. Is it called a boot camp? A wilderness survival course to try and ground herself and toughen herself up, basically. And it goes a little topsy-turvy when her brother's best friend is also on the trip. I loved that. And it's very much obviously you've got brother's best friend, you've got like he's had a crush on her since he was 16. It was just really beautiful, and as Katherine Center books tend to do, it didn't just focus on the romance. The romance was very prominent in this. It was quite sweet, but it also had that focus on it was almost like a women's fiction. I'm so bad for my words today. It was like a women's fiction, because you follow Helen on this journey of self-discovery and again becoming okay with herself, realizing that she doesn't need to change, or she just needs to bring out the best parts of herself again. So I did really enjoy this. I found bits of it quite slow. I think that's maybe because I had seen the film, so I knew what was happening and what was coming. But I gave this a 3.5. It was enjoyable, but again, I'd seen the film, so I knew it was happening. So if you're gonna watch the film, read the book first and then watch the film, because this does have some inclusions that aren't in the film. But yeah, they were both pretty good. So 3.5. Then a bit of a rogue choice. I read Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, because I've seen, I think her name is Madison Kate. She's another YouTuber and like bookfluencer. She loves this, and I'd wanted to also love it. So let's cut to me reading that. So, how many times have I said so in this video? Oh my goodness. Half a Soul follows, why do I not remember anyone's names? This follows Dora, who her mother made a deal with a fairy to give him the soul of her firstborn, I believe. And when he comes to collect it, Dora's cousin intervenes and he only gets away with half of her soul. So she's left with half a soul, meaning she can't really experience emotion in the same way other people do. She can sort of sense that she's meant to be feeling something, and maybe deep down buried inside of her there is something there, but she can't feel it, she can't experience it. She can't experience falling in love, she can't experience like being sad or angry or anything. She's just indifferent on everything. And this follows her and her cousin when they're being set up. Oh, it's like a historical fantasy. I don't think I said that. It's called the Regency Fairy Tales. This is book 1. And my bookmark is falling out a bit. But her aunt, who is like her legal guardian, is trying to get her cousin to marry some like rich royals. They're not royals, what am I trying to say? Just some rich people from London. And her aunt is really horrible. She like doesn't see Dora as an actual person because she can't experience emotion. She thinks that her having half a soul is this massive scandalous secret that nobody can know about. But Dora and her cousin enlist the help of a local magician, which sounds ridiculous, to try and fix her, try and get the other half of her soul back, try and find a way to make Dora whole again. And there's a little bit of a romance. And I ate it up. It was so cute. I loved it. Again, this isn't really my kind of thing. The old-timey writing is okay. It's not my favourite. You could definitely tell this is like a first book in a series though. Like they were setting some stuff up. There's definitely some deeper plot lines to follow, or to explore. And I'm buzzing to pick up the next book in this series. Again, they're quite short. Like this has got a short story at the end as well. So it's actually, where is it? Oh, let me find the end. It's only about 230 pages, I think. Yeah, so it only goes to like here in the actual book. But this was written really beautifully. Oh, I'm not going to show you the final page. That would be really shitty of me. I was annotating this. How was there no evidence of that? I annotated this. I also annotated the favourites, but I can't remember if I said that already because I don't know if I filmed anything about the favourites. So that was that. And finally, oh, it's out of my reach. I am going to be reading The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. I am, I think, like 30 pages in, so I know pretty much nothing about it. I've sort of got the vibe. It's like a frenemies to lovers kind of thing, but she's got a boyfriend already, so it will be interesting to see how that is navigated and if it's done in a way that makes it okay, because if you have a boyfriend and you start flirting with someone, it's not okay, but if it's done in a way that is more acceptable and entertaining, I think I'm digging myself a hole here. Either way, I'm going to continue reading that now, and hopefully I'll be back on track with this video because I'm so far behind on my schedule for filming this after 2 weeks of filming nothing. So let's crack on, let's read that, and I will get back to you with some thoughts when I finish it. So I ended up binging most of this book in one day. I think I got to page 100 and then I just had loads of free time yesterday, so finished it. This is fine. I didn't know what to think going into it because everybody loves Abby Jimenez, and so there was that expectation that I'm also gonna love Abby Jimenez. And I really enjoyed the actual writing of it. I love like the narration of it. Is that the right word? The prose, is that? I'm not good with my literary words, but I think that's what I mean, is the prose that it's written in. It was an easy read. It was quick, it was easy, which I do love. There was a lot of emotional depth to it, like there was an ongoing health problem, but that came with a lot of miscommunication. Like if Kristen and Josh had just sat down and actually talked about what was happening instead of just playing these little mind games with each other, granted there probably wouldn't be much plot left, but it just really irritated me that she didn't just talk to him about why they couldn't be together. And equally there were some other bits I didn't enjoy, like Josh, the main love interest, was adamant he wanted, I think it was 5 kids, but maybe 9 or something ridiculous like that. I'm not a kid person, I don't want kids personally, and I thought it was a really harsh thing for him to have said that he wanted 5 to 9 children all naturally, like he wanted to have a wife and knock her up, not adopt or surrogacy or anything like that. He wanted it naturally, which I personally found a bit ugh. And there was another bit where, actually there's a big bit, Kristen has a boyfriend for like the first half of this book. a long distance boyfriend while she's flirting with Josh, and the circumstances in which they break up, I did not feel okay with as a good enough reason for her to be fine with moving on. Like, yeah, I just thought it was a bit, like, I don't want to give too much away, but also I found that really, not disgusting, because I can see where she was coming from, but also it's the adult thing to actually talk about it, not just bone the next guy you see just because you're single again. So that bugged me. And there's a bit where like there's someone breaking into her house or something, and so Josh wants to protect her, and they go to his flat to go get his gun. What? And she's getting all hot and being like, oh, I can't talk right now, guys. He's showing me his gun. It's really hot. And I'm like, no, not for me. It's not. So there were a few moments like that where I just didn't agree with the characters and their motivations and stuff like that. But overall it was fun. It was interesting to read. There was a big plot moment at the end that came out of nowhere, and that was incredible. That bit alone I would give a 5-star. How that was written, what happened, everything was beautiful. But because of the first half of the book and everything leading up to that point, I'm settling on giving it a 3. Maybe a 3.5 if I'm being nice, but I'm giving it a 3. I'm definitely going to keep reading Abby Jimenez's books because I enjoyed how it was written, but I'm hoping the rest of them don't include wanting 4 billion kids all naturally promoting having a gun, and micro cheating is what I would call it. I'd classify that as micro cheating. So, but it was good. I enjoyed it. It reminded me of Fake Flame by Adele Buck, but I definitely preferred Adele Buck's because it wasn't so controversial in my head. So 3-star for this. And a quick rundown of all the other books I read, because I have literally 2 days ago talked through everything else in the other clips you'll see. But we had Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I gave this, actually can't remember what I said, I think a 3.75. If that's changed since last time I spoke, then that's how I'm seeing it, a 3.75. It can definitely be improved, but I did enjoy it. So then we have got Happiness for Beginners by Catherine Center. I'm giving this a 3. It was interesting. There was a lot of depth to it, but I think because I'd seen the film, I just was not overly interested in what was happening, so a 3. Then we've got Tales from the Cafe. I gave this a 4-star. I love the premise of this book series. The time travel-y stuff is great. The introspection is also great. So this is just hard hitting in every format that I could consume it. So then, best book of the video was The Favourites by Lane Fargo. I gave this a 5-star. I loved the drama, the constant tension, the snippets of interviews showing what other people were thinking in this moment versus what Kat is actually saying happened and how it actually went down. This was just very interestingly written and an interesting, gripping plot. I could not put this down. I loved it so much. And finally, I started the video reading Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young, which was a bit of a disappointment to me. The only other book by her I've read was a 5-star read for me, and this just wasn't that. Yeah, I just found it a bit dull. It has similar vibes to Happiness for Beginners, so maybe just hiking in books is not my thing, but I'm giving this a 3-star. It's a very solid 3-star. Like, I don't really have too many overall good or bad opinions on it. It was just sort of there. But you know, bonus points for the cute sprayed edges, I guess. Happy to own this. So that is all the books that I read for this video. It took me a little bit longer to get through them than I would have liked, but we made it, we finished it. I found a 5-star, so I did achieve the goal of the video. And with that, I will see you next week.